is up, you guys? I'm back with another video. So today's video is not going to be about weight loss or anything like that. Like I told you guys previously, this channel is not just about weight loss, although I will be dropping a video about an update on my weight loss on Friday. So today's video is kind of different, and it might be a little bit sad for some people, but I'm going to be talking about how I lost my dad and my stepmom and dealing with grief of a parent. In the description, I will have a timestamp on where you can fast forward to if you just want to learn about some different ways that you can deal with grief and how to get over it or to deal with it and stuff. But if you want to hear the whole story on how I lost my parents, then just continue to watch along. In 2009, I lost my dad. He had a massive heart attack. But he did have some underlying health conditions. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he had hypertension, he had diabetes, he had high blood pressure, he had high cholesterol, which are the main reasons why I am, taking my health so seriously after wasting so much time on it, because a lot of health conditions are genetic, they're passed down. And as you guys might assume, my dad was overweight when he died, but he wasn't an overweight person all his life. As far back as I can remember, you remember your parents a certain way. I remember my dad when he was small, like not small, like skinny the way he was, but I remember him as he gradually got bigger. My dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. During this time, my stepmother, who I also lost in 2012, was in remission for breast cancer. And dealing with her breast cancer, she ended up getting both of her breasts removed, and she went through chemo, she went through radiation, she went through all different kinds of stuff to get rid of her cancer. And like I said, this is back in 2009. So, my younger sister who was living with us, I don't know if she remembers exactly what my stepmom had to go through, but my stepmom was a heavier woman as well, but she ended up losing a lot of weight due to the chemo and the radiation. She ended up losing her hair, and she had long, beautiful, salt and pepper hair color. She had long, beautiful hair. She was so beautiful. And she ended up going through a lot. She was in and out of the hospital. We spent a lot of nights at home with just our dad without her, try not to cry during this video. To watch such a beautiful and sweet person go through that, she didn't deserve it. And I don't think nobody really deserves cancer. But it was just like the type of person that she was. She loved everybody. She was so genuine, and she just cared about everybody. She was so forgiving and loving. It was hard to watch her, suffer, to go through the treatments and everything. So, I remember one day, and I can only remember 2 times ever in my entire life my dad crying. The first one was when I lost my grandmother, his mother, and that was my first time seeing him cry. And it was really weird to me because my dad was such a macho, manly man. And I never And it was just like he had a lot of sweat on his face, and I remember it. And it was like we was at the funeral home, and I seen that one tear just fall, and then it just kept coming. But he had a straight face the whole time, and that broke my heart. The second time was when my stepmom, I don't know, she was getting to a bad point where she wasn't handling the radiation well, and um she wasn't eating, and the doctors were telling us that she didn't have a lot of time left wasn't if she didn't want to eat, it was like she was giving up. So it was just like it was only so much they could do if she wasn't doing her part. So, and I remember we came home one day from the hospital. My dad, I heard him in the room, and he just broke down crying. And I could tell that the cancer and her treatment bothered him a lot. So, and we dealt with this through 2000 and I want to say 7, maybe 2006, 2007. We dealt with it. Like I said, in 2009, when my dad died, she was already in remission. She was clear of breast cancer. She had, she had survived it. And so when my dad died, we did not know that he had cancer. We knew that he passed of a massive heart attack, but only him, his wife, and, my aunts and uncles knew, because my dad had time. I think when he found out, to my understanding, he was stage 3 or stage 4. I think he was stage 4, and it had already like spread it to other parts of his body. And so I noticed that my dad had started giving away certain things, like his lawnmower, his guns, just different stuff, to different family members. And he had already made his funeral arrangements, and, he had it already set on who I was going to live with, who my sister was going to live with. I was going to stay with my stepmom, and my sister was going to go with my aunt. And, those were his wishes, even though things didn't go that way. So, fast forward to him passing, he had time. I was told to do the treatments, but because of what he had watched my stepmom suffer through and go through, he did not want to put himself through that again. And he didn't want to put himself through that, and he didn't think he could do it. So he didn't do it. And so in April of 2009, my stepmom told me that, and me and my little sister wasn't home at the time. My stepmom told me that he had went into the living room, and he had just gotten off work, and she said he had started cleaning up. And I remember that night I had talked to him, and the day before that I was home, and me and my dad had a real deep talk. We talked about my nephew. We talked about my boyfriend at the time. We talked about school. He told me I needed to do better and behave, and we talked about a lot. And I did not know that was going to be my last, time I seen him. But it was, good, because me and my dad before that had some issues that I'll talk about in a future video. And we had some issues, and I apologized for them. I thank God that I was in a position to get to apologize to him, and that I, and that I was able to apologize to him for how I was acting, and I was 15 going on 16, but I was so bad. And I just thank God that I was able to apologize to him, and he was able to forgive me for the things that I had done, and I was able to forgive him for the things that he had done. And so he told me he loved me, he'll see me later. So that night, the night he died, he had called me, and I was talking to him. And I talked to my stepmom. And my dad got back on the phone, and he was like, well, why don't you call me back later? No, I was like, I said, Daddy, I'll call y'all back because it's getting late, and I was doing something, and I never called him back. I woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't call him back because it was late, and I didn't want to wake my stepmom up. They had this house phone that was so loud, and I didn't want to wake them up. I knew my dad might have been up, but I just didn't want to wake them, and because I had nothing to really talk about. So I didn't call back. The next morning, I wake up to numerous amounts of texts and calls from my oldest sister on my dad's side. And I wasn't answering, and then I seen in the last text where she was just like, Daddy died. He had a heart attack last night. You need to get home now. And, so in that moment, it just seemed unreal. My heart just dropped. It's like a butterfly feeling, but it's just like a heartbreak feeling, like you can honestly feel you physically feel it, like I physically felt my heart it was just the most horrible feeling ever. And that's how I found out my dad died, and it hurt me even more that I didn't call me even more that I didn't call him back. It hurt me even more that I didn't call him back that night because I had no real reason not to. I just didn't want to, bother them. But I should have, And around the time that I woke up was around the time that my stepmom said that he had his heart attack. She said that she had walked into the living room to check on him because she heard a fall. She heard him fall. And she said she seen him on the floor. And she thought he was playing. And then she realized he was having a seizure. And, like I said at the time, she was so weak. She said she couldn't. My dad was a big guy, so she couldn't turn him over to get him on his back and to, she couldn't turn him over to get him on his back to help him. So he was on his side, and she called 911. And she said it took them almost 10 minutes to get there because of the road we lived down. The road we lived down at the time was like a really bad road, and it was a dirt road, and it was in the country, so it was hard enough getting cars back there. So the ambulance getting back there was not even, it was nobody but God that got them down there anyway. So once he got to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. And that is how my dad died. That is the story of how I found out. And when you lose a parent, it doesn't go away. The hurt doesn't go away, time does heal all wounds, but it doesn't close it, you will be sad. You will have your moments. You will cry. you know. I I I functioned. I didn't really get a chance to grieve my dad, you know, because once he died, it was like I went into adult mode because my stepmom took it horribly. Like, he was her everything. She took it so bad. And she slept with his ashes, you know, on his side of the bed. Like, she would wear his clothes. Like, she she went into a depression. Like, it was like she was prepared for her to lose herself because, like I said, she had the cancer. And, you know, I guess it's like if somebody's sick and somebody's perfectly healthy, you would assume that the person who's sick would go first. And I guess that's how she kind of like dealt with it. And like I said, I don't really know or remember how much of my dad having cancer that I don't think she knew how bad it was. Let's put it like that. And I think she thought she had more time because after he died and we talked, you know, it was like he spoke about it one time with her, and every time he would try to bring it up, she would not listen, you know. That's just the type of person that she was. She didn't want to hear it, you know, kind of like a denial thing. So I'm pretty sure he shielded her from a lot of it, but you know, just sit down talks with my aunts and uncles. My dad knew it was coming. I don't think he knew how soon it was. But you know, when you lose a parent, it's like a heartbreak that doesn't heal. You know, it gets better. You learn to deal with it. You learn to tolerate it, and that's pretty much all you can do. You know, it's natural to cry. Cry as much as you want. Feel as much as you want. Don't let people sit around and tell you, oh, you know, he wouldn't want you to sit around crying, or she wouldn't want you to sit around crying. No, feel those emotions. Cry. Get angry. Just don't dwell in it. That was my issue. I didn't grieve my dad. I didn't, in the right time that I needed to. As you can see now, it's been 11 years and I'm still like, the shit still bothers me. So, grieve your parents. Get the counseling that you need. Talk to people that you need. I didn't have a church family around me. I didn't have people around me who understood what I was going through, because the only person that was really there for me was my cousin. And she at that time, she hadn't lost her dad, so it's just like she could only do what she felt like she could do, you know. My mom was my real mom was worried about the wrong things. She was worried about his money and taking me and my sister to collect a check. You know, like her mindset wasn't there to help me to grieve. My sisters had their own issues with my dad, so they did what they could to make me feel better. And my stepmom, I felt like it was my job to make her feel better. And so I took my cries when I could. I cried at night and I ate my pain away. You know, I ate and slept around and ate and, you know, went through a depression, went through a very phase, like a phase where I was just with this guy and that guy. Like, I just didn't want to feel anything. So, you know, when you lose a parent, you know, don't let anybody tell you how to feel. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. But what I can say is don't stay in that bad place. I know it's so cliche, but God doesn't make any mistakes, and He doesn't put more on you than you can handle. You just have to lean on Him for His understanding. You know, I didn't know that at the time, but I know it now. And it's okay. It's normal to question God. It's normal to be angry at Him. Just don't stay in that place, you know. After that, I dropped out of high school. And it wasn't 2 years later I ended up getting my high school diploma, but I spiraled, y'all. Like, I spiraled. And I'm making this video to keep other people from making these same mistakes that I did, you know. Lean on, if you don't have anybody to lean on God, you know. Pray, read your Bible, find a church that you're comfortable with, and find a leader who can help you grieve properly, to get a therapist, you know. Do everything that it is that you feel in your heart you need to do. But one thing I will say is to just lean on God for that understanding. Don't lean on your mom, don't lean on your boyfriend, don't lean on your sisters or brothers. You need to lean on God, because He's the only one who can help you with that pain and fill that void and help you to come to some type of mental understanding. Because especially if you lose a parent like I did, and you really, he was your provider, your protector, your everything. It's just like you feel lost, like what now? So I just want to encourage you guys, you know, with the whole COVID-19 pandemic that's going on. A friend of mine that I went to school with just lost her dad, and I feel for her. Like, that sucks. She's 27, but she's not married and she doesn't have any kids. So I know what it's like to know that you're not going to have anybody to walk you down the aisle. I know what it's like to know that your father won't meet your first child, you know. So with this pandemic that's going on and people are losing people, just stay in the Word. Just pray about it. And I know, like I said, I know that's so cliche, but it's nothing else you can do. It's really nothing else that you can do. You have to pray. You have to lean on God. You have to get some type of understanding and some type of relationship with Him, because I feel like if I would have had that at the time, I might not have spiraled so far out of control. You know, I didn't have that to keep me. I didn't have my relationship with God to pull me back up. But my relationship with God is what keeps me strong now, so I can talk to you guys about it, cry, and then keep my life going. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, feel sorry for myself. I know that's not what my dad would have wanted, and that's not what I want for myself, you know. It gets easier. I promise you. I promise to you, it gets easier. The pain doesn't lessen, because it could come out of nowhere. I get sad around holidays. My dad's birthday is December 27th. I get sad around Christmas. I get sad around the month he was born. I get sad around my birthday. I get sad around almost all the holidays, y'all. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, oh, in 5 years you won't even think about them. No, it kind of gets worse sometimes, because 10 years later, I can't remember how my dad's voice sounds. It's hard for me to remember how his voice sounds, or it's hard for me to remember his laugh. So if you have a parent out here that you don't have a relationship with, or they're estranged and it's on you, because I do have my real mom, me and her don't have the best relationship, but it's not my fault, you know. You can only do what people allow you to do. But if you have a parent out here you're mad with them about something they did in your childhood, or you're mad with them about something they did years ago, let it go. You know, just put it in God's hands, pray about it, tell them that you forgive them, and try to have a relationship with them. If you can't have a relationship with them, try to at least keep communication open with them. I'm at the point now in my life where I can't have a positive, functional relationship with my mom, but I love her. If she calls me now and I can help her, I will. but I can't be around her every day. I can't just sit around her, and that's okay, and I'm learning that is okay. But don't sit there and let the days and the years and the months go by on your mom or your dad over something so small. I wish I could call my dad. I wish I can call my stepmom. I wish I can tell my dad what my husband did, or tell my stepmom what the kids did, or when I'm sending pictures to their grandparents, I wish I could send them to my dad and my stepmom. Like, it's the little things that you'll miss, but it's the little things that I cherished. I remember every lesson I was taught by my dad. I remember all the lessons that my stepmom taught me to make me the woman I am today. If it wasn't for her, I don't know what type of person I would be. So this video is kind of long, and I'm sorry for that. But, I prayed before I made this video, and I told God to just help me to say what He wanted me to say. So if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, or have any in-depth questions about dealing with the loss of a parent or something like that, then, you're welcome to comment below, or message me on Instagram if it's something personal or private. I didn't get into how my stepmom died because this video is still kind of long, and I can do that in another video. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll be doing plenty more story times about my dad, and just different stuff that I've dealt with in my life that is my testimony. So thank you guys for watching.